Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishing and Mattress Gallery, Global Septic, and AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. And gentlemen, I have one question for you. Would you like a do-over on your midterm answers last week? Because things have changed. Or have they?
Yeah.
The more things change, the more they kind of stay the same, but not 100%.
Profound.
Wow, what a take, Dylan.
Expert
Thank
analysis.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to move on with the notes. This past week made things a lot clearer in some areas and a lot less clear in others. Wow. All right. Good God. So Cody,
you
and
could
Josh,
write the notes if you wanted to.
I do not. I read enough notes. Cody and Josh both declared Rainier the team to beat in the C2BL girls, and then Napavine beat them 58-37 at home on Tuesday. This was, if I had written the notes, this would have been my headliner. Hayden Kaut scored 26 for Napavine, and they ended the game on a 29-11 run. Do you guys hear that humming? That's the heater.
That's AmeriCool.
Okay, that is wow.
Jeez.
Good plug.
Don't even have to speak him into existence. Yeah, Napavine looked pretty good in a win over Rainier. Dylan, you were there.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Napavine defense did what it does best. It took a little bit. Both teams were kind of in the 20s up until about midway through the third quarter. And then Rainier just started turning the ball over at a much higher rate. Got a lot of open looks in transition, and there was a couple stretches. I think there was two separate instances in the game where it went Napavine bucket in the half court, and then back-to-back turnovers, just trying to get the ball. Like Rainier couldn't even get an offense going because they couldn't even get the ball up the floor, and that really just broke the game open. And I know we've done a fair share of poking fun at the RPI, but I believe Rainier is still 1 and Napavine is 3 in the latest RPI, despite a 21 point win.
They have a quality loss now.
True.
Yeah, but that's of the utmost importance. Any other big notes from that game? How did Rainier look up until the point when Napa went on that big run?
I thought they looked good. The defense specifically was kind of limiting what Napavine could do. I mean, like I kind of said, a lot of Napavine, how they stretched the lead was off of turnovers, but in the half court, the Rainier defense was able to kind of do what Napavine does as well. Just kind of really slow the game down. It was kind of bogged down, not a lot of scoring, not ugly per se, but just for a little bit there, it seemed like it was going to be first to 35 wins just because both defenses were playing so well. But then
high level 2B basketball.
But then when you just get that discombobulated and Napavine just starts putting it, scoring 6 points in 30 seconds, it just kind of fell apart. And that's something Brendan Eigenbrough was talking about. He's like, well, good lesson that, when things start to fall apart, we have to be stronger mentally. And I think that's the biggest thing that they could take away from this is that that's how quickly it can fall apart. And we'll see how they adjust moving forward.
Sounds like it was a good crowd.
Place was packed. Yeah. I think that's the first thing Shane Schutz said, the Napavine coach. He was like, well, how about this game for just girls basketball? I mean, to the brim, I had to park by the middle school. And I got there like 20 minutes early too. I'm not the best at getting there early for parking because I normally don't have to worry about it in Napavine. But yeah, packed gym, really good energy. And I couldn't ask for much more from a January C2BL game.
Did you get to meet Todd?
I don't think so.
Todd
I
Millis
saw him. He was in the
house.
background of some pictures.
I don't know who that is.
Statewide.
What?
Wow.
Oh, what?
Whoops. Todd who? I genuinely didn't hear the last name.
Todd Millis from
SB Live writer.
SB Live.
Oh,
He's a nice guy.
Him.
He's a character.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've read some of his stuff and just don't recognize the
We
name.
need like an incredulous what on a hop.
Yeah. For the record, the RPI rankings as they currently stand in the 2B girls basketball classification, Rainier is, as you mentioned, number 1. Adna is number 2, and Napavine is number 3.
What do they know?
What that means is that the C2BL is viewed as a powerful conference.
Okay.
So, Tudor Lake is 7. Who won last year?
The title?
Yeah.
Colfax.
Kovacs is 13. Must have graduated some stars.
They did not. She's just hurt.
All right. Adna, meanwhile, since this is now a C2BL girls basketball podcast,
Oh, the best.
is on a 10-game winning streak, but hasn't played since January 3rd, thanks to a forfeit from Wahkiakum. Why did they forfeit?
I don't know. It's just it's
Weather?
listed as a 1-0 win on their website. I know they've been down numbers, but
Yeah. Okay. And tonight, Napavine at Adna, 7:00. Who's got that one?
I don't know. But by the time you hear this, it'll be over.
Yeah, that's true.
Make your picks below.
Better listen quick. Listen to this on 1.5x.
At 6:30.
Napavine doesn't technically win the C2BL with a win tonight, but its last 5 games are against Winlock twice, Wahkiakum, which, as we just mentioned, forfeited to Adna, Kalama, and Tudor Lake, which is 7th in the RPI.
Yeah, Tudor Lake's decent.
Yeah, they're
Tudor Lake has 8 of those 4 teams combined 11 wins.
Okay.
And
oh my God,
it's Kody.
Kody just rolling in late. Here he is.
You missed the entire C2BL segment, so sorry.
What do you mean? I've been here the whole time.
Sit down, Kody. Do you like the new headphones I got for you?
And make sure to react into the mic.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's it. That's what we expect out of our boy Kody.
And
We back.
one last note on the girls is that Adna plays Rainier one more time next week. So there's one after the game tonight. There's one more of that. relay at the top.
Any chance a Pacific team wins districts?
No.
Bold. I like it. All right, cool. Moving on to the boys Central 2B League updates and whatnot. Napavine is pretty good here, too. They overcame the vibes of Cathlamet to beat Wahkiakum 63-58 on Wednesday. This, I'm assuming, was in Cathlamet.
Yes.
Had to be.
Only by 5?
Yeah. It was other than the Brewster game, that's the only time they've been kept to single digits.
That is indeed a tough place to play.
It's wood. It's got a stage on one side, but it's the wrong side. So you know what they say about
Yeah.
You know what they say about about gyms that have stages on a sideline.
What if it's on one end?
I said that's different.
Okay, like
That's
Morton.
the correct
Or
way to do
Napavine.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Threw
Does
Napavine off.
Napavine does have a stage on one end, doesn't it?
Yeah. Or PL.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, they can like break open those
Yeah.
foam doors and they got a stage up there.
I don't know why they don't
Yeah,
put stands
I've
up
never
there.
noticed
Yeah,
that.
sorry, Dylan. You giant city kids probably have your own auditoriums for your bands.
There he is, spitting fire. You love to see it.
We're
Schools
back.
have separate.
Again, we just talked about how Napavine right near was absolutely packed. Why don't they open that and put seating on it?
So like VIP seats, $10.
Put the band
ticket. You
there.
can sit up there.
That's a good place to put the band.
Yeah.
How many of them? Never mind.
All right. Anyway, James Grose scored 28 points in this win at Cathlamet. He is at 1,867 points for his career with 8 games left to break 2,000 by the end of the regular season. At his current rate, that'll give him, 5 games?
Yeah. And
5 or 6?
this is putting it out to any of the tens of people who listen to this podcast. If you know who the last person in Lewis County that hit 2,000 points was, let us know because we're still trying to find it.
We had a fun back and forth.
You kept
trying to
asking
figure
me
this
about
out.
people, and I looked them up, and they were they finished at 1,100.
Yeah. Well, there's not a lot of people that play for basically you got to average 20 a game for 4 years of high school to get to 2,000. Pretty
I
much.
know. Is it Artem Wallace got there for Toledo, 2005?
Yeah, and that was back in 2005. Swanson is there for Tudor Lake, but he played 5 years.
Yeah, and he's also
Asterisk.
and he's also not in Lewis County or Thurston County.
Well, it's C2BL. That's close. He's at C2BL. He's Lewis County adjacent.
Yeah.
I threw out some names and they were all short. My guesses were Kirkley.
Couple of Pocats. The one kid from Mossy Rock.
Kirkley, yeah.
Kirkley.
Who I think he might be on the staff at Mossy Rock now.
Yeah.
I think he was last year.
Hodges Bailey didn't make it.
Okay, was my guess when he asked me.
Which Pocat?
Matt?
He would have been. He was probably close, but he didn't play a ton on varsity his freshman year. They had a stacked team then.
Sure.
So he
couple
scored a
years.
lot of points, but he only really had 3 years of significant varsity time.
If you know your school's all-time leading scorer, let us know because we're trying to find these things.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear if we have had somebody between James Grose and Artem Wallace,
Boys or girls?
boys or girls. Napavine has a tougher road to end the season on the boys' side. With 3 games left, with 3 games remaining against Rainier, Tudor Lake, Toledo, and Adna, all in the next 3 weeks, with games remaining against those teams. I really botched that one. Anyway, Napavine's still got to play Rainier, Toutle, Toledo, and Adna, and those are all formidable opponents.
Just chances to trip up. I think they lost to Toutle last year, right? That was their only league loss.
Could have been. Can't recall. So, Josh, your Toutle Lake is going to sneak up on people at the end like it always does. Take isn't looking so great because they are second in league, which means no sneaking.
No sneaking this year.
Are they ahead of Rainier in the standings?
By a half game. They've played one more game and got one more win.
Have they played one another?
They play one another on Friday.
Okay.
Get ready for the good games coming up.
Big matchup. I hope that is mentioned in
good games coming up.
Good games maybe coming up that you might be interested in.
Yeah,
our favorite segment.
Sponsored by Miracle.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the CTBL side you guys want to talk about? Okay. This podcast is brought to you by Global Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. That's why Kody was late. He was out making the most of a Global Septic sanitation station.
No, he was taking a picture of a Global Septic sanitation station for a news article.
From the inside.
News article about best porta potties ever.
How's the lighting inside of Global Septic?
Fantastic.
Hell
I
yeah.
hope not.
Some of the turds glow.
No, but the lighting at the hub where it actually was is awful.
Yeah.
All right. Septic pumping, inspection, and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services, and obviously they will rent you a porta potty or a sink. You can throw those out in the front yard. You know, maybe you're not even under construction. Maybe that's just how you roll. Visit globalseptic.com. That's GOEBEL septic.com, or give them a call at 360-736-2167. And now we move on to the 2As. On the girls' side, WF West is making it very obvious that it is the Bearcats and everybody else in the EFCO. They just beat Tumwater 57-36. They also beat Centralia 64-16 for their 28th straight Swamp Cup win. Dylan, you were at that one too.
Yeah, the most notable thing from that one was Julia Dalan hit 1,000 points. And
that's cool.
I didn't even know what happened. There was a timeout, a slight woo, and then both teams got in their huddle and came back out. And it happened so fast that by the time I realized what had happened, the game was actually already back in play. But she did hit 1,000. She's the fourth Bearcat to hit 1,000 in program history. She's about 300 to 350, depending on how many games she's played since then, from becoming the program's all-time leading scorer. Mm-hmm. So it would take a great end of the season to top that this year, but next year for sure.
She's a junior?
She's well on her way.
She's a junior.
She's a junior.
She's got a shot at 2,000.
I was going to say.
An outside shot.
She's got like probably between 13 and 15 games left this season, and then another.
Do those totals count playoff games?
Oh, yeah.
No.
How many games will they play next season, like roughly? You got a number?
It's about 25 to 30-ish, right?
Depending on how they do. 20 in the regular season, and then...
You got to assume 3 or 4 probably average for districts, and then if they make state 2, 3,
2 or 3,
maybe 4.
So she's got, she could have another...
How many does she have left?
She could have another 40-ish games.
How many points does she need?
To get to 2,000? Yeah. Almost another 1,000.
Almost, yeah.
I'm going to see how much she needs average per game.
To get to the top of the WF West record book.
Less.
Like I said, 300, 350. I'm not sure how much they've played since that Swamp Cup win. But
it's got to be Drea Brumfield up there. At least one of the Brumfields.
We
have the WF West record book downstairs. See, they're the only ones that actually give us a record book. It's very
She
nice.
Scores like 8 points a game for the rest of her career. She'll be the program's leading scorer.
I think she might manage that.
Did you just text your stats teacher?
No, I passed. I am the statistician.
He has become the
stats. I am the stats.
Yeah, I was ahead of her. I had Bree Thompson from back in the day is probably up there. When they had really good teams in, the 2010s, they weren't like high scoring teams.
I mean, they're still not high scoring teams.
No, but like their league MVPs and their all state MVPs would be, defensive players.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, cool, good for her. 28 straight Swamp Cup wins. I think I was at the last one Trey won, but I'm not sure.
2010.
I was probably there.
Wasn't it in districts or something? I forget. No, that was Black Hill's last one over Tumwater. I take that back. Speaking of.
But Black Hills is making its own moves in the EVCO. They beat Tumwater on the road 62-46 Friday in the Pioneer Bowl. Josh was there.
It was a pretty end-to-end win. And this was also, I mean, they did a girls-boys doubleheader. And, I mean, the atmosphere for the girls' game was not as good as the boys' game, but it was still two of the better student section I've seen. So that was a loud game, too. Kody was there, I guess, too.
It was pretty sweet.
And, yeah, I mean, Black Hills came out shooting kind of the way that I think people expect to with Kylie McMahon and Tyler Venable, and they hit like 4 threes in the first 3 minutes. And that forced Tumwater to expand its zone out. And then Black Hills spent the next 3.5 quarters just punishing them down low. And Ashley Harris went off. Natalie Buchanan had like, at halftime, Black Hills had as many offensive rebounds as Tumwater had total rebounds. And that was pretty much it. They just dominated down low. They dominated on defense. It was, I think it was never closer than like 7 points. And it was pretty comprehensive for a, first win over Tumwater since I think 2019 or something like that. So
All right.
It's been a couple of years for them.
What was the WFS girls, Black Hills girls game?
WF West won by like 15, something
Okay.
like that. So still a very much
Driver's seat.
But I think that Black Hills puts itself into the number 2 host a district first round game.
All right. And then on to the EVCO boys. Everything is somehow more chaotic than it was last week. On Friday, Black Hills beat Tumwater 58-57. Simon Neistat, who we still do not have a photo of this season, somehow.
He took multiple.
They were not cut lined. They did not show up. I looked. Anyway, he had 27 points to lead the way. I don't mean to air your dirty laundry on the pod, Kody.
Well, that's exactly what you just did. But okay.
Neistat had 27 points to lead Black Hills. Tumwater got fouled on a 3, down 2 with 2.8 seconds left, and made 1 of the 3 attempts. And Josh was there for this one, too, conveniently.
Cody was there, too, taking photos, got video. Instagram video had, 500 likes at the end?
It's pretty good.
Seems like
That video went off.
Seems like a B1 story to me.
Yeah, you'd think, but here we are.
By the way,
Not to air our dirty laundry or anything.
I just cut line the guy holding the ball. I'm too tired, man.
No, this was a great game. It was at times it was an ugly game, but it was back and forth. I think both teams led in every single quarter. It was kind of that back and forth. The entire second half was 4 points one way or the other, and it just kind of went down to the wire. Black Hills hit. They took the lead on a backdoor cut. Neistat hit a 3 being triple teamed in the corner to go up by 4, and then right back down the other way. Tumwater, Jake Dillon canned a 3 from NBA range to draw it closer. The thing about this game was that Black Hills came into this game. They're probably the smallest team in the EVCO. They were giving at least 4 inches at every single position to Tumwater. And then their one big guy got in foul trouble. Jack Ellison picked up 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes. So they went from being the small team to they were pretty much running 4 guards. It was James Morgan, who is a freshman, was playing the 5 for them for most of the first half. They went ultra small against Tumwater, who's bringing, a 6'8" kid at center. And
he didn't play much.
He didn't play a ton because they were just too fast. Yeah. And it was kind of like those Warriors teams where, you have Draymond at the 5. And
the 6'8" kid would have just kind of got in the way.
Exactly. And they just kind of grit and ground and tried to do everything they could to avoid the fact that they were giving up 3 offensive rebounds on every possession. And they kind of managed it in that last possession or that last free throw. So they got Black Hills fouled the 3-point shooter with 2 seconds left. He needed to make 3. He missed the first. He made the second. He missed the third. It rolled out, and Black Hills couldn't get a rebound because they were just so much shorter. But they just kind of kept volleyballing it up in the air until the clock ran out. And that's how they won. And then they stormed their court. They stormed Tumwater's court, and it was a great scene.
They
it's kind of their
this
court,
is our
too.
house.
It's the same district.
Yeah, but it's just not their court.
It felt like a neutral site, honestly.
Yeah.
It was.
It's 2 miles
both
away.
Student sections were huge.
It's still a difference. It's not like the football field. It's not.
I couldn't believe on the video the 2 student sections were next to each other, which to me just sounds like a fight waiting to happen.
Cody, do you want to weigh in with your
Again,
big city?
Dylan obviously just goes to the big city where kids are just
fighting,
violent.
Cody's like they had like a movie theater rope in between the two. I was like,
Yeah.
There was a police officer standing in between the two. So
that's more like it. There we go.
They're so cute in Tumwater.
yeah, honestly, they were. I think they were trying to come across as friendly towards each other as much as possible. Because every time the Tumwater announcer would mention something with Black Hills, he would say "our friends at Black Hills" to encourage positivity. I guess.
Well, they have the same superintendent. People forget that.
Yeah.
They do.
It's
Yeah, it's the same district.
I mean, obviously they're 2A schools, so they like have more students to come to games. But
Yeah, not that Tumwater isn't the big city still.
for this area,
To me,
but like for the, I think those are probably the biggest student sections I've seen at this job for a basketball game.
All right. And then on Wednesday, Tumwater beat WF West 54-40. This was win number 100 for Josh Wilson at Tumwater. WF West had just 2 points in the last 5 minutes, and Dalan was there.
Yeah, so Tumwater, the Black Hills loss was their 5th straight, and they did beat Capital on Saturday. But with everything going on in Capital right now, I've heard some stuff about coaches resigning. There's a lot going on over there. This kind of felt like it was the win that snapped the losing streak. That was just kind of the vibe I got post game, where it was one of, oh, okay, we needed that. And they got it against a really good WF West team that just wasn't on. They were just off kilter the whole game. The offense, a lot of hands in the air, trying to run plays, and they just were really disconnected. And Tumwater took advantage. Clay Morgan hit 5 threes in the first half to help build a lead. And then even when it got a little close in the second half, WF West got back within 1. The Tumwater defense just shut down the Bearcats and just pulled away at the end. A lot closer game than the final score indicates. It was about a 5-point game with a little under 5 to play. But, yeah, they got it done, 100 for Wilson. And, it was a big sigh of relief from, I think, collectively for that team based on the vibes I got post-game. They needed one.
How many years has Wilson been there? 6, 7, 8 maybe?
Don't know, to be honest.
That sounds about right.
Somewhere in that area.
I can't remember who was the coach there before that, but he's done a nice job.
It's already, I think, the most. I think he's the second winningest coach in Tumwater history.
Wow.
And he's had the most success at state. I mean, that program before he showed up had some pretty lean years.
Yeah. So 2 weeks into January, at the top of the EBCO standings, WF West beat Shelton. Shelton beat Black Hills. Black Hills beat Tumwater, and Tumwater beat WF West. So are they all tied?
No, for the same reason. Shelton's 4-2. I think WF West is 5-1, and the 2 Tumwater schools are both 4-1, something like that.
All right. So revisiting last week, Dalan and Kody picked WF West, and Josh picked Tumwater.
I still don't know how I feel about it.
I was about to say, I think I'm still going to back WF West because that just seemed like an off game for them against Tumwater, but Circle of Parity speaks.
I don't remember making picks last week.
I listened back, and you did.
All right. This podcast brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery.
How you doing for furniture, Aaron?
I'm pretty good.
Ooh.
All my furniture.
I don't like that answer.
I could really use some new things. I was sitting on my couch today, all day actually, and I was like, man, this couch kind of shitty. So what would you recommend I do, Josh?
I think Kody has a great answer for you.
I think you need to head on down and see Mr. Elam at Elam's Home Furnishing
Elam.
and Mattress Gallery. Elam. Sorry.
Which should I check the living room section for that?
I would assume that's where the couches are. Yeah.
Well,
where is your couch at in your house? Is it not in the living room, Aaron?
It's in his global septic sanitation section.
Yeah, I mean, why walk a long ways when you could walk a short ways?
Right. Put it at the foot of your bed. You can place your night shoes on it.
I would. I was putting my night shoes on the other day, and I was like,
Aaron has no
these are
beds. It's just like 5 couches in various bedrooms.
I have lived like that before, and let me tell you, it's not that bad. A bunch of great deals on couches at Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. They call them sofas. So,
Oh, wow.
maybe you guys, update yourselves.
Yeah.
Learn a little
Maybe
bit.
that's the big city coming out in me again.
Become cultured. I'm sure Dylan calls them Davenports or something. But anyway, great deals from our friends at Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia.
Can Kody get a camo couch? for his anti-big city.
Yes.
I don't even know what a Davenport is.
Yeah, of course you can. Visit elamshf.com to check out all the deals and learn more. Elsewhere in the basketball world, as it pertains to Lewis County, Noah Scow scored a career-high 44 points, and Tenino beat Eatonville 75-54. Do you guys know if that's a Tenino record? I don't believe it is.
For single game points?
Yeah.
It's not. Apparently, I asked, and their record keeping is bad, but they swear that the Tenino Tower scored at least 50 once, they're sure.
Is that Gordy Robertson? Is that who it is?
No, it's not.
The Tenino Tower?
This was a long time ago.
This is new urban legend.
This was a
I've
name
never
that
heard
was
before.
in like a bunch of the state record books.
Yeah, Gordon Harris.
Gordon Harris, that's who it was.
Oh.
And that would have been what, like the 60s, 70s?
Yeah.
So
63.
To be a
Okay.
tower in 63, how tall was he? Like
6'10".
6'2"?
6'2".
He
6'10".
was 6'10".
Yeah, Tenino beat Eatonville that game 75-54.
Turns
I feel
out-
like a lot of high-scoring games, both boys and girls, and on both sides of it, have come against Eatonville. Like
Yeah.
they just play a Lewis County adjacent team, and they're like, this
They're not
defense. Why bother?
Coached by former News Tribune writer TJ Cotterill.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But no, a good game for Tenino. They've been waiting for this. So yeah, this was the first time they were saying that they got an entire 4 quarters with their entire roster healthy, because Jack Burkhart's been going through some injuries, and I think Cody Strawn or their Snyder kid, one of them was going down with injuries, or both, and Ashton Moore's been dealing with an injury. So they got everyone back, and they look pretty good, and they're undefeated in league, though they've only had to play 3 league games. So they should be in a position to take over that Evergreen League. Yeah,
They are also, I believe, in the RPI rankings.
probably.
I think they're
I think they slid
10
in at
is
10.
what I saw.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I said they were 12, 2 spots behind Montesano at 10, even though they beat Montesano last week.
That would
Are
also
you
that would make
becoming a
sense for
commenter
the-
right now? Like
Huh?
in real time before our eyes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Turning into a Facebook commenter. Well, we beat it. This is rigged. In the 1B Columbia Valley League boys situation, there is also chaos. Nacelle, Mossy Rock, and Willapa Valley are all on 1 league loss, and Columbia Adventist has lost 2 league games. So things are very much up in the air. Do either of you have a preference on those 3 teams? The Comets, the Vikings, and also the Vikings. Cody, you prefer the Vikings.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because he's a Valley kid.
Anybody else? Just no takes on the one
I
beat. Wow.
lean on Mossy Rock just from what I've seen against them. I don't know. We probably talked about this last week when the Mossy kid subbed in and there was a protest in that game. I actually saw the same ref the next day, and during a timeout, we just kind of chatted, and obviously nothing ended up happening with it, and he didn't think anything would either. But yeah, just based on what I saw that one day, they're confident too. Forgot who I think their league loss was to Adventist, I think.
Yes,
I
and
remember.
that's the other thing, that these 3 teams are at the top, and Adventist just beat Mossy by 3, and I think Nacelle just beat Valley by 3. So they're all like close games too. So kind of down the line, down the road with smaller schools, but they're playing close games too.
And we have a big story from a county to the south of us. Bill Backamus. Ever heard of him? He's retiring after this season. He's coached for 41 years. He has racked up over 680 wins, which is the most among active coaches in Washington. Has he won a title?
He has not.
He is not.
They got to the state. I think he's made it to 3 state title games. They made it last year, and then got shafted by the refs.
Mm-hmm. Are you just doing a commenter thing again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I was sitting courtside for that game, and their Kobe Parlin, their offensive star, picked up, I think it was 4 fouls in the first 10 minutes, and 3 of them were offensive fouls.
Mm-hmm. Did he think about not fouling?
Always like Aaron to take the cop side.
Yes, yeah. Big turn from news dump to sports
Yeah,
dump for me.
exactly. Mr. Law and Order over here. Local
I'm just saying, you should have complied.
Local legend, though. Son of Morton.
He is a Morton guy. I think he's brought teams to the timber tourney over the years. Things like that. He's beloved in Morton. He's been a fixture around here for 41 years, my entire life.
He's at least 2 years older than you, right?
At least, yeah. He got his first job as a head coach at 4 years old. It was beautiful.
He started. I think I saw he had 1 year in Lind. Actually, I think even back then it was Lind Ritzville. But then didn't he come? He was here for, was it Toledo or Tenino? One of the T's.
I think he was at Toledo.
I think he was at Toledo
briefly?
for like 5 years, and then before taking the Mark Morris job.
The rumor I heard years ago, I heard a story a long time ago that he interviewed for a job as a basketball coach in Chehalis at WF West High School before he got the Mark Morris job. And, he wasn't like a big heralded guy. He didn't have a big resume. He went in and they interviewed him and they were walking him out. And on the way out the door, they shook his hand and said, "Well, Bob, good luck to you." And obviously his name was not Bob. And I don't know, maybe he took it personally. He's beat WF West a few times over the years.
Yes.
And they've
Start of
beat
his
them
villain arc.
a time or two, but that was a story I heard. So, who's going to take over for Bacchamus? Is it going to be an EVCO coach?
There is a particular EVCO coach who is an alum of Bill Bacchamus.
Does he have 100 wins?
He does, as a matter of fact. There's also a interesting Bill Bacchamus alum who is also coaching in Longview at Robert A. Long High School, which could be a little fun. If they go to Jure Key to cross over to, let's see, he started out at, he grew up on the RI Long side of Longview, and then he went to Mark Morris, and now he's coaching RI Long, so that would be like a quadruple cross back.
Is he just doing the Jordan Dalan down there?
Yeah, pretty
going from
much.
school to school?
The other one, I think, his Bacchamus down there is like kind of like Josh Face. Like his staff is like 5 people who would all be the most experienced coach in the EVCO if he wasn't there. So they might hire internally. And Clokey's been there for at least 20 years. Hayden Tilden, who's has multiple years of head coaching experience, I think he might be. I've heard he's kind of the right-hand man. He coached at Castle Rock for a couple of years. He also played for Bacchamus because the man has been doing this for 4 decades and has a pretty good coaching tree. All
right. Yeah, that'll be interesting to follow and to see what happens there. This podcast brought to you by AmeriCool Heating and Cooling.
Hum you hear in the background.
You can hear it right here in the background. That humming is AmeriCool going to work, keeping us warm. Your comfort is their business. Whether you are too hot or too cold, they provide full-service HVAC installation services and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee on everything they do.
Just like us.
If you are either too hot or too cold at any hour of the day, give them a call, 360-669-8446. That's their 24/7 emergency service line. Maybe it's not an emergency. Maybe you just want an estimate. Visit west.americoolonline.com and check out all their services and whatnot.
We're humming like AmeriCool.
Hell yeah. All right, now Josh's favorite section. Good games.
It's the easiest section.
Games that maybe you are interested in and could be good and are perhaps happening Friday, weather permitting.
Can I get that on a T-shirt?
We should trademark that.
Friday's games. Is there a chance these get snowed out? Probably not.
We had a couple snowed out
Shall I check the forecast?
yesterday. Yeah, sure. Weather boy.
Weather. Come on, man. What do you know, weather? Where would this podcast be if I wasn't here to be disrespected every episode?
It would be the same place it was before you started.
3 listeners.
We already had a couple games because it snowed harder. Was it yesterday? It snowed harder down south. So like I know Kalama had to cancel school. Ani canceled school, so their games was out.
I would assume if MWP had
Morton couldn't get
all
out. Longview canceled school. Apparently,
and out of respect for Bill Bacchamus.
That too. I just thought it was funny that Longview canceled school and all of its games, but Wakayakum didn't. So Napavine had to go through Longview to get to Cathlamet, even though apparently Longview was too snowed under.
I wonder what route they took to get there. Did they go?
I'm sure they went to Longview and took 4.
But what if they went to Rainier and took a ferry or something? It's an option. It's happened before when that highway's closed.
But if you, okay. But yeah, okay.
Bridges don't freeze, you see.
No wonder the game was so close they had sea legs.
That's it's too much time on that ferry. And the ferry service in this state, let me tell you. No, I'm just kidding. Ferry service is great. Anyway, good games that maybe you want to see or don't coming up Friday. Rainier at Tudor Lake Boys. This is a battle for second in the C2PL.
Who would win, 1 Swanson or 3 Meldrums?
Is this like an exchange rate situation?
Tune in Friday to find out.
This is essentially a battle for second place in the C2BL. What are the benefits of finishing second rather than third? Host a
I think
district bye?
You might get I think you get a bye. I think the top 2 seeds in each league get a bye.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
right.
good. There's a lot up for grabs then. And Adna at Toledo Boys. Toledo upset the Pirates last year, and these two teams are currently tied for 5th in the C2BL. So, there's a lot on the line there, too. Who's in 4th?
Kayakum.
All right, if you say so.
I do.
Saturday, we've got a big game. White River at WFS Boys. White River is currently 9-2 and first place in the 2A South Puget Sound League. Do you guys know anything about White River other than that?
They're the Hornets.
They are the Hornets.
I should have
You passed
saved.
the school on the way to Crystal Mountain. That's all I
I
got.
should have saved them being first in the 2A SPSL because then I could have pulled that one out. But
Well, here we are. Where are they in the RPI rankings? I have it on my screen. Wait, hold on. No, I don't.
White River is
9?
9.
That's pretty good. Where's WF West? 15?
Not on.
Isn't that
here.
Napavine's only loss?
I think so.
White River.
No, that was the Napavine girls.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay.
White River Boys, I think. I always get White River and Enum Club mixed up because they have the same logo and the same mascot. And one of them went to state and made a run at state last year.
Enum Claus the Hornets?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
The same like Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Be trouble out there?
Something like it.
All right. Do they consider changing it with all that murder hornet business going on?
It is a little
Anyway.
whatever.
Just gives them more of an intimidation factor that way.
So Monday, we've got the MLK Day Classic at Lower Columbia College. At 4 o'clock Monday, Tumwater Boys play Adna.
Kind of interesting, actually.
Yeah, that is kind of. At 5:30, the Tumwater Girls play Kelso. And at 7 o'clock, the WFS Boys play Kelso. So those are some fun games.
Some fun games. They usually put a pretty good show on at LCC. It's a good time.
Yeah. And
We will
then
probably
Tuesday, Adna at Rainier Girls.
Part 2.
Yeah, it's a good one. Were those both league games?
Yes. Thankfully, we don't do any of that shit in basketball.
Good.
Wait till spring sports, people. They'll come back.
yeah.
Don't worry.
Oh,
for
yeah.
softball.
Nobody knows what their record is. Or when
Yeah,
they play
people
next.
crying because their season's over, but they still have another game. Just don't know it.
My brother, you're playing right now. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk? Oh, Josh, there's one thing I wanted to ask you. Are you
What's that?
okay?
Yeah, I'm set for furniture and not too hot or too cold, so yeah, I'm actually pretty good.
I'm not going to ask you about your porta potty situation, but
Oh, yeah, that's fine, too.
something happened on Monday.
Yeah.
I feel it's important after we discussed this last week with you and your fellow diehard Husky fan,
Yeah.
Dylan.
I feel like what's
ASU.
Dylan
coming.
is not wearing his UW hat
I
today.
feel like what's coming might be
Interesting.
worse than what happened on Monday.
Do you guys
What
wanna
might be
discuss?
coming?
Did you enjoy it?
I watched the first quarter, and then it was my birthday, so I stopped
Oh,
caring particularly about
nice.
it.
Happy
I went
birthday.
home and watched some movies. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it, Cody?
I did.
As
It's a good game.
yeah, definitely. As the big
Fun to
Cougar,
watch.
as the big Wazoo fan.
I'm just a fan of
Definitely.
power
Wh- wh-
football,
wh- which-
running the ball.
Power football.
Which dorm at Wazoo do you live in again?
He shares the dorm at Wazoo with Dylan. Actually.
For all the heat that Dylan takes about supporting a school that he did not go to.
Yeah. But no, Josh, you are one of the only people I know who is a diehard UW fan who actually went to school there.
Josh.
So I
if
feel bad that
Centralia-
you guys lost.
If the Centralia Trailblazers had a football program, I would be the number one fan. All right.
I'm sure you would be.
You would probably be
probably be on
the
be
line,
yeah. I'd probably start.
I feel like the recruiting process would start at your door. It's like, sir, you live nearby at our lawn.
How far do you live? Be at practice on Thursday. Like,
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, we'll just do that. We'll have practice in your backyard, man. Don't worry about it.
BYOG, bring your own gear.
Yeah.
We'll bring the practice to you.
But yeah, any thoughts on the end of the season?
Saw it coming. I was a little surprised at just how poorly. We're talking about UW in the national championship game for those of you who haven't
With
picked
no
up on.
context,
And
yeah.
Josh has not shown his face in the office until today.
Yeah.
What do you think Harbaugh's going to leave?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you
to the
think Kalen
Seahawks.
DeBoer is going to go to the Seahawks?
I do not think Kalen DeBoer is going to go to the Seahawks. I hope he does not go to Alabama.
that's
but
what I'm inferring.
Interesting. Yeah, the
I
coaching has
really
been-
hope that Jim Harbaugh goes to the Seahawks just for the Jim Harbaugh Pete Carroll dynamic.
Yeah, I don't want.
He's a West Coast guy. Get him back out here.
Like every time I see, like, if you're Harbaugh, like I understand the urge to want to go win a Super Bowl to be on even playing fields with your brother, but also like you are the coach of Michigan. You just won a national championship. Your life could not be improved by going to wherever and trying to win a Super Bowl. Like it's just be happy with what you have.
Yeah, no,
I think-
I would love to see him in Seattle, and that is both. That is mostly as a person who is not a Seahawks fan. I would love to see that.
I feel like it wouldn't be a good culture fit.
I don't think it would either.
Like him, like Pete Carroll set a culture in Seattle of being like, hey, believe in yourself. Like things are possible. Like relate to your human beings. And Harbaugh's like, stop being a pussy. Like that's the kind of his vibe.
A wild culture shift
Even-
was if we could get Belichick in Seattle.
Why would you fire a 71-year-old coach and bring in another 71-year-old coach? What are we doing?
I saw somebody be like, "What we need now is we need, what was it like not the was it the Expendables or that superhero movie where it's all like Stallone and Schwarzenegger, like all
Yeah, that was
super
The
old.
Expendables.
The Expendables. You know, Bill Belichick goes and he like brings on Pete Carroll as one of his coordinators and Nick Saban as another coordinator, and it's just like it's like 1 year of like a bunch of 70-year-old guys just.
Trying to relate to like
No, just
20-year-old
getting
people.
25-year-old man.
Get absolutely plastered and see what you can do with an NFL team. It would be fun. And it would be so much fun to do in Seattle and watch it blow
Be
up.
the greatest season of Hard Knocks ever.
It would be
Exactly.
just gone awful. My hot
They'd be
take is
snoozing
that
during practice.
Seattle's going to hire
Dan Lanning.
Kellen Moore and then draft Michael Penix because they're both left-handed quarterbacks, and that's where my research ends. Give it a shot. What's the worst going to happen?
He's basically Tua by that.
Has
metric.
any left-handed quarterback in the NFL had a left-handed quarterback coaching them?
Maybe.
That's what I thought. Probably not. Anyway, we are sponsored by Global Septic, AmeriCool Heating and Cooling, and Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. If you want to contact this podcast, it has the same email address as Newsdump, so you can send an email to chroniclenewsdump@gmail.com. I think that's the email. I didn't put it in the notes. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
We have an email?